Charles Register, I wanted to talk a little bit about framing and staging yourself with Zoom meetings and conferencing. You're a professional photographer, and our goal here is keeping down costs for people.
Right, yeah. I'm all about working with what you got and making the best of the situation.
And what we've done is I'm in my home studio. Charles has a simple webcam in a simple room with no extra microphones and earbuds. So we wanted to show different settings while we talk about this. The first thing is what we talk about, Charles, is staging yourself in the scene and pay attention to it. And we're going to show a few of the most common mistakes we see. And I don't mind if you break all the rules. I just want you to know it, because this is your digital first impression as a professional. In fact, I'm going to start with one. They were having a meeting to promote their business, and luckily no customers showed up, but the guy was able to lean back in a way. I don't know if I can make myself look that bad, where he looked like that Star Wars guy, the giant creature,
Yeah, Jabba the Hutt or something.
His belly, and he was back here. He was relaxed. And what's that? What's the name of that creature?
Jabba the Hutt or something like that.
And they were trying to meet customers. So it's like, if you want your head to look as small as there, he even accentuated his double chin. I think I managed to do that. What I like is what we teach in our photography and video class is see the whole thing as a stage. So you notice I'm off stage now. I'm on stage with my hands. And Charles, talk about your setting, because I like yours is simple, almost anyone could do in their home.
Yeah, well, a couple things is, one, you want to look as good as you can, and you also you want to look good to others, so you're not distracting them from whatever the presentation is, and they're not. So anyway, so a simple gray background or a simple tone background is great if you got it. If you don't, make the best of what you got. Just clean it up. And, even now, it looks like I'm in this really clean room. And if you could see all around, and if you want me to show you quickly, it's like, I'm in my office, it's just.
Right. He's busy. He's got projects going. He's got little piles of to-dos.
So, this is my one little space here that's as clean as possible, to give as clean a background as possible, and for the presentation.
And notice how he staged so that the door isn't growing out of his head. Now, and actually in there you're sort of rule of thirds looking into the picture. So it has some looking room there, as we teach in the video. So thinking about it. And then also the other thing is, it's okay to not look at the camera, but if you're really trying to make a point with the audience, start practicing looking at the little dark dot, which is the camera on your laptop. I'm deliberately using my laptop, not my pro camera gear, so I can contrast. Now I'm looking at you because you're in a different reference place for me, and now I'm looking at the camera. So just practice that. If it's important, you're meeting with a client, maybe you don't want to look at their picture, but look in the camera and speak, and it's a muscle to develop, isn't it?
It really does take practice. And one thing I try to do, if possible, is if I'm watching a person on the screen, I try to move them down closer to where my camera is. And that way, so my eyes are not so far away from the camera. And I have my camera at the bottom of the screen, which is really not the best situation. But again, I'm doing it to make the best of my situation. Really, the camera would be better if it was a little bit higher, so that I would be looking up a little bit. And what that does is it stretches these muscles under the chin just to make that a little more pleasing.
Yeah, I want to show that. So if I go up a little higher, I'm lifting it up. And again, see, that's a little bit better. It decentralizes it. Many of us have a little bit of a double chin, especially with being inside. And now I'm going to go a little lower here. And you see it kind of accentuates it. So understanding the angle is important with it. Right now I'm using a simple yoga block to lift up my laptop. Didn't take a lot. We had it in the house anyway. you know, and
Right.
that's something where at least it raises it up.
Yeah, everything doesn't have to be complicated. Another kind of thing that can be bad about having a low angle is you don't want to be looking up, you don't want everybody to be looking up your nostrils. And
That's
I've
right.
seen some, over the past, since we've been doing so many Zoom calls lately, I've just seen so many bad examples, like including the person that's like this,
Right.
or
Yeah.
like this, even
Yeah,
worse.
that's right. The nasal hair examination, Brossman.
So,
Right.
I just wonder if do people realize that they can see themselves before
Yeah.
they get
And
on?
this is, again, we aren't being police on this. We just want you to think about it, because this is a digital first impression for many people. This could be a networking event and you're a business and this is their first impression of you. Many people often look a way they would never leave the house, in my view. It's
Right.
tough enough during this pandemic. The other piece is headroom. So notice we've done it so we each have a little different levels of headroom, but what you don't want is you don't want what I call the Kilroy look, right? This is another one. This is the Kilroy look, where it's so low. Notice the amount of headroom there that exists.
Yeah, I see that so many times, and you really don't want to see somebody's ceiling. Even in mine, you can see a little bit of ceiling, but you probably don't notice it that much because it just kind of blends in with the walls.
Audio is very important too, so get the best audio you can get. Now, Charles, we've set you up with just a webcam mic, which is really a little better than the sound of the computer itself. For me, I'm
Sure.
using a Yeti, and it's great with audio quality. The challenge with it is if you have a lot of ambient noise, you might want to try out like earbuds with a mic. It might sound better. I love USB lavaliers you can get. The big thing is just record something and notice, if you're a business professional, how does the audio sound? Because that's real important. That's one of those unconscious things like scent in marketing that we aren't as conscious of, but it makes an important first impression.
Sure. It depends on, what level you are. I mean, if you're having a board meeting, a corporate board meeting, you should probably look a step or two higher than if you're just meeting with, a group of your friends or
family members. I also want to talk about lighting, because we wanted to contrast too. I'm in my studio, and thanks to your help, I have a key light and a fill light. In fact, I was just adjusting at this height. I could probably improve it more, but I wanted to leave it for the presentation. I am using a hair light. If I put that too strong, I wash out. But because I like wearing black and my background's black, I live with it. This actually accentuates my shoulder and the head. If I make that too strong, then what will occur is I'll get a nice shiner where it's just all white on it. Talk about yours, because yours is set up more with natural lighting.
Right. Yeah, I definitely want to address lighting. Well, I have a window over here to my left, which I get some natural light in. I also have a light set up, an LED light bouncing off the wall. So it just gives a soft light on me. And instead of relying on overhead lighting, which can create shadows under my eyes. And one thing I want to point out is it's very simple. Light in front of you is good. Light behind you is bad. You try to put your computer or laptop or whatever where the light is behind the laptop, so that that's lighting you from the front. However, one thing to be aware of is reflections in glasses. So if I look up, notice how the reflections from the light are on my glasses. And you may have to move a little bit to adjust for that. So one thing you don't want to do is have the light directly behind you, because the camera wants to adjust for that bright light and make it more normal, which is going to make you dark. And if the combination of a bright light behind you and if you're lit with the computer screen, you're going to look blue. That's not attractive at all. So if you don't have a window to provide you light, just use lamps, lampshades that allow light to diffuse through it, softens the light. You can put one on one side. Even better, you could put one on both sides and just allow that light to light you up. Like a 100-watt bulb is sufficient. To make it even a little better, you could move one further away so you have a little bit brighter and a little bit more shadow, but not too much. You're pretty evenly lit.
And what I've learned from making a mistake once, where they had extremely powerful light coming into the right, I wasn't able to overcompensate that. It was a quick shoot. I went to interview my doctor, and we literally made her look 10 years older than she is by having too strong a contrast. So just note, most people, certainly in the over 40 crowd, aren't trying to look older than they are. So I've got a slighter angle here coming at me, and some like the ring light. I know that's popular, and I'm fine, use whatever you want, but if you do choose to get two lights, I'd rather have one a little closer, and that's called the key light, and one a little further away, so we get a contrast but not too extreme that occurs. And that's what I learned from you as fundamentals of video. The one challenge with the ring is it's even coming right at you, but use whatever you have. You can get those inexpensive as well. The problem is extreme contrast. If you have extreme contrast, you'll look older, you won't look as good, and that's making a different impression.
Right. If the light's too harsh, you're just going to be washed out or have hot spots like you mentioned earlier. If you got direct sunlight coming through a window, you don't want that to shine right on you either. You just want a softer, diffused light with a little bit of contrast.
Next, I want to talk about the fact you can have green screens and other tools. And I just want to say right now, Charles, I'd rather have an office like yours than an overly distracting background. So it's not my first choice, but if you need to do it, that's an option. So I want to kind of talk about that, because I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen so they can see some of that. And folks, I just want to say there'll be a little delay in the voice because I'm sharing the actual screen here when we're talking. But I want to go here and look in the lower left-hand corner of Zoom. You'll find it says start and stop video, and click that. And then there's choose virtual background. I'm a little concerned this is becoming overused, Charles, and that's why I'm an advocate. I'd rather you just clean one wall or clean up some area and use it than the background, because you can add videos and other things. I'm going to try to show something I put on for that would really be distracting. For family and relatives, this is fine, but this is really about your business first impression. So this might be a cute novelty, but I think it's a little distracting to watch and have on the background. So, so right now what's occurring is I'm using it without a green screen. And I want you to see if you can get it, let's see if we can create some gaps. So you'll get more gaps on it if you do that. And anything else you want to mention about these backgrounds?
Well, they're just, to me, sometimes they're more distracting than just a regular background, because things are always moving, and it's not always transitioning well. And also, if you're wearing a green shirt or something green, kind of like I am today, that just may blend into the background as well.
Right. And so what we want to see is, it's fine if you want to do it, just notice the difference. And here's one of the biggest mistakes I want to show is, let's get one of their standard backgrounds that they have. I'm going to use this is one that's pretty standard with Zoom. And then if I click, I have a green screen look at what can happen. It's keying off of me. It doesn't know there's no green screen there. What happened to my face? So you'll see a lot of pieces of the image on them. And some of that's being caused because they just don't have enough light on their face or they're backlit. And I'll actually see some version of this in a business meeting, because if you don't have enough light, it's trying to detect what is a human being here and what's behind me. And if you don't have enough light on there, backlighting, it's going to have a lot harder time. Another piece of this is mirroring on the video. You can mirror and find out. This can be helpful because, you know, it gives a mirror for the person. So just know that's a feature. Now I want to turn this off a minute, and I want to actually pull up a green screen and let you see the difference of having an actual green screen, if you want it, or what it takes. And Charles, while I'm pulling up the thing, would you just kind of talk about green screen and the concept?
Well, the concept is green is a solid color. It is a color that people don't usually wear, so that's why it's popular to use. But all it does is it just makes a simple background so that a virtual background can replace it easily. But it does have to be lit evenly, not have wrinkles or shadows on it. So like what you have there is pretty evenly lit.
Yeah, and now I'm framed. Now, let me show you something before we activate it. If you really want to do this professionally, you want to have some strong lights independent of the main lights on the green screen. See the shadow back there? You want to remove that. That's kind of an overkill for most people, but we want to at least show it. Now, this is a pop-up green screen around $200. I got it so when we teach a class, we can take it on the road with us and show how green screens work in a classroom. I'm going to click the I have a green screen, and then I'm going to create a background with it. So pick one of my pictures, and then there's a little circle here and goes, go ahead and tell us what is the green screen. So I can click that background, and now it knows we're the green screen. The benefit of a green screen is that if you hold something up, you can see it. Because without a green screen, what will happen? Let me turn the green screen feature off. It goes away. See how that goes away? That's because it's trying to guess without a green screen. It's a miracle it can even do this, but it's trying to guess without a green screen. And that's where you see things disappearing. Green screen comes on, and then you get it. Now, of course, if you key the wrong thing, it can be colorful too. Let's go ahead and key me. And so that's where it thinks my skin is the key color to remove from the environment. So this is giving you a sense of what green screen is. And you can get them for like under $25, hang from the ceiling. But our recommendation is just find an area of your office where you can let the background be not very distracting. Most people, no matter how cluttered their house is, they got some wall they can line up with and set up the lighting properly. Charles, any comments on that?
Well, a couple of things. There's really nothing magical about the green, color green, other than it's a color that people don't normally wear. A blue would work as well, and that has been used in the past. So, but and that's probably something that, you know, if you're having a corporate board meeting or you're meeting with a high-end client, that may be worthwhile to do, to have a more pleasant, even background that's not distracting because it's constantly changing. But
which could be a photo, which could be a photo of the logo or business. That might be relevant. Just make sure it's not right behind my head.
Yeah, you don't want anything sticking right out of your head, especially horns from anything. But to add to that, if you don't have a solid wall, if you have a bookcase, you can use a bookcase, but just clean it up. Don't have, a bunch of mess on it. But again, the idea is not be distracting to other people on the call.
That's it. I'm going to go ahead and put this back down to the environment. We'll talk about some of the other mistakes. So I want you to see it as I'm going down. You see it? Have you ever seen those pop-up projectors. And I just love this thing. I think they're, of course, now sold out as many things like this, but this is just an example of a few things. Now, I'm a big advocate. The best way to help people become conscious of what they're not conscious of is demonstrate it or accentuate it. So I've listed a few of the sins that people have given me of working with Zoom. And so we talked about one, which was the camera too low. And, you know, that's where we call it the navel exam. Yes, we already did that one. It's too low. You're going to accentuate. If you got a little extra double chin, it's not going to make you look as good. Charles, you're you know, fairly slim. This works. It's practical. And what you've done is you've staged yourself. That's why we're trying to show how to keep it to. The other one we talked about is to be the shrunken head, too far away, you know, from the camera. And it's, look at the staging of me here. I don't want to go any further back. I'll fall over.
Yeah, so a good rule of thumb is have your webcam about arm's length from you. And that's exactly what I've done here. And so if you want to, you know, lean in a little bit, that's fine. But, you know, the little head at the bottom just
isn't quite as attractive. Other one is distracting noise. I mean, just really think about, train your ears to listen for ambient noise. See, our minds delete massive amounts of information. And what we've learned in teaching small businesses around the state, photography and video, and now working on this, we have a course entirely on this. What we've learned is our minds don't notice we're deleting information. So we see what we think it is. We don't see what is actually there. Well, we also delete sound. So if there's a dog or kid yelling in the background, you may not notice it. So you've got to put on what I call soft eyes and soft listening to train yourself to hear the sound. Like right now, the fan's running pretty strong on my laptop. So that would be a sound that could be picked up. I happened to have my ham radio on in the kitchen of all things and heard it when we start. It's training to hear that ambient environment is an important piece to have. Oh, camera blur. Talk about that, Charles, from the phone and everything. That's a big thing, especially if you're using a device as a touch screen.
right. So what happens over time, whether you have a built-in webcam or you are using your phone, you know, there's a film that builds up on the camera lens. And what that does is that makes you look blurry or makes the scene and you look foggy. And especially if any light was to hit that camera lens when it's got that, you know, when it's not clean, it's just going to make a glare. And that's just so distracting, and it doesn't help you look good at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just clean your lens regularly.
And it's okay to have headphones or earbuds. We're kind of accepting that now. That's why I wanted you to wear the earbuds. If you have a lot of background noise, getting like a gaming headphone with a mic might be necessary so that people can hear you. It's really become sort of acceptable. Oh, the other one is amazing how many people will like be talking and, well, you know, I'm really enjoying the meeting today, and they'll forget that they're on the meeting. And it's like, they're, you know, they won't be noticing that, and that gets pretty distracting. So you may have to turn off the camera or mute the mic. And we talked about before the importance in meetings, practice muting and unmuting, muting and unmuting. That's the easiest way to control it. The last one I want to talk about in the settings, and I'm going to share screen. And we told you when we share screen, you're going to see a little delay in some of our voices. So just know that. So if I go into here and use we got video settings, a lot of stuff we can do with it. Enable HD. If you have that available, you may or may not want to do it. You can do original. You can control the size a little bit too with it, and it tells you what camera's connected. Under my video, there's another one, touch up my appearance. So I'm going to turn that off.
Wow.
And I'm going to turn it on. So it gives a kind of I call it like a early Star Trek soft focus for
Wow.
people. So
Okay.
you can, lose a few wrinkles by that feature. And that's a pretty important one that many like. I kind of leave it on. I'm a little bit older, and I think, what's your view on it? Is that a little harsher?
I
That's
can't
all?
really tell a lot of difference, but I think
Okay.
it's
It
it's
is. I
probably
can
a
see it
good
here.
feature.
It's a little bit subtler, and so just know that's one of the other features to understand.
That's an old trick from way back in the movie
That's right.
days.
The
Softening up the
Vaseline on
star.
the what's that?
Softening up the star.
Yes, yes. The best example of that is watch old Star Treks when they show to the, beautiful woman. It's always soft focus, and then they're back to Captain Kirk. They clearly are putting Vaseline on that filter. The old trick of it.
Right, right.
I think we've covered a lot, and the theme of this is slow down and just notice the staging of you. Just like realtors stage a house, staging of you and notice it. My background was built without any plan for video. Even you're going to accept some things, even it is not perfectly straight, the line's in the middle. I'm not going to take that attached to the wall thing down. So it's okay to have some stuff, just be aware of what's going on. Charles, I'll let you have the final word. And then also want to tell them that we offer turnkey services with a whole team to be able to help you set this up, remote tech support. Charles can walk you through lighting even over a Zoom to line it up. You were doing it before this when I moved the light a little bit to reduce the contrast.
So what I want to say about your background is, you're a professional speaker and a business coach. So it looks like you have a professional studio background there, and that works well for you. And it being darker, it helps you separate from the background, and the pattern is not particularly distracting. So I also want to say about, if you have a Mac, there's a program called Photo Booth. You can open Photo Booth with your webcam, and you can see what the webcam sees. So you can see how you look, you can see how your background looks, you see how your lighting looks. So that gives you time to move lights around or move your camera around or to adjust and so to what looks the best. And I don't know what it is, but there's probably a comparable program for PCs.
Well, the big thing is you can just sign up for the free Zoom and start a meeting without anyone in it, and do a little bit of tweaking and see how it works. And if you're using a Logitech or something else, there's usually some type of video software that you can get on. But the biggest thing is just start your own meeting. Don't invite anyone and stage it.
So yeah, so just like 3 quick things, have your camera about an arm's length away from you. A little bit higher is better than lower, and lighting in front of you is good, lighting behind you is bad, and make your background as simple as possible. Excellent.
And the last thing is always good to get better audio if you can, because people don't notice. They notice that more at an unconscious level. You want to sound as good as possible. Some people don't like how their voice sounds, and that's when you really want a better mic, because a built-in mic to the computer generally will be worse. If you want these real fancier mics, you're going to have a quieter room. And the other piece is notice the sound in the room. If you have carpets on the floor or you have something on the walls that softens it, it's going to be not sound like a bathroom. If you got a floor which is solid and solid walls and the high ceilings, it's going to sound like you're in a hallway or a bathroom. So notice those things, because that's also important. Well, Charles, how can they reach you? And of course, I'm going to put the link for reaching our whole team that offers this, and we'll close up.
Well, certainly you can give me a call anytime, 919-414-8235. Email me, Charles, at charlesregister.com, and check my website out, charlesregister.com.
Excellent. Thanks, folks, for joining me today, and I look forward to hearing your comments. If we left something out, feel free to put it in the comments. If you like something, mention it as well. And remember to click subscribe and the bell so you'll see future videos. Have a great day.